Hello everyone, my name is Sarah and welcome back to English Insider. Today we have a story for you titled My First Flight, perfect for English learners at Level 3, a graded reader. This is the story of Sarah on her very first day as a flight attendant. She feels a mix of excitement and nervousness. Her uniform is brand new, her hair neatly tied. She checks her smile in the mirror, wondering if she looks ready for the day ahead. Sarah arrives at the airport early. Flight 102 is heading to New York. It's a large airplane with many passengers to care for. She meets the pilot and the other crew members, all of whom seem confident and experienced. Sarah can't help but wonder if she'll do as good a job as they do. The boarding gate opens, and passengers begin to walk in with their bags and tickets. Sarah stands at the airplane door, offering a smile and a good morning welcome to each person. Some passengers smile back, while others look tired from their journey. Suddenly, a small boy, running ahead of his parents, catches Sarah's eye. He's clutching a toy airplane. "Wait!" Sarah calls out gently as his parents hurry after him, laughing nervously. "Sorry," the father says. Sarah smiles reassuringly. The little boy looks up at her and asks, "Are you the pilot?" Sarah laughs warmly. "No, I'm a flight attendant," she replies. More passengers continue to board. One woman stops directly in front of Sarah, holding her ticket and looking around with a puzzled expression. "Where is my seat?" she asks. Sarah takes her ticket and checks. "You are in seat 15C, she tells her. The woman nods but still looks confused. Sarah points inside the plane. "Go straight ahead and look for the numbers. Seat 15C will be on your right." The woman smiles in relief and says, "Thank you." As the line of passengers grows longer, Sarah starts to feel a bit more nervous. A man approaches next, carrying a very large suitcase. Sarah observes that it's clearly bigger than the allowed cabin size. What should I do? She wonders. Taking a deep breath, she says, "Good morning. I'm sorry, but your bag is too big for the cabin. It will need to go in the cargo hold." The man looks at her and frowns. "But I need it," he insists. Sarah can feel her hands getting a little sweaty. Will he cooperate? The flow of passengers continues. A mother carrying a baby boards, and the little one starts to cry. The mother looks understandably embarrassed. "It's okay," Sarah says gently. "Please take your seat." The sound of the baby's crying fills the air, and Sarah hopes the baby will calm down soon. Finally, the last passenger boards. Sarah glances down the aisle to make sure everything appears to be in order. Then, the captain's voice comes over the intercom. "Crew, prepare for takeoff." Sarah's heart beats a little faster. Am I truly ready for this flight? She wonders. As the airplane doors close, Sarah thinks about the day ahead. What challenges will she encounter? Will the passengers be happy and comfortable? Will she manage to do a good job? She smiles to herself. It's only the beginning of the flight, and she's ready to learn. Sarah stands at the airplane door, observing that all the passengers are now seated. She feels a bit more relaxed, but then the man with the oversized suitcase stands up. He looks visibly upset. Sarah's heart rate increases again. What is wrong? The man walks to the front of the plane, points directly at Sarah and says, "I need my bag." Sarah feels a surge of nervousness. "Sir," she begins, "your bag is in the cargo. It's too big for the cabin." He shakes his head firmly. "But I need something inside it," he insists. "It's important." The other passengers start to look at the commotion. Sarah doesn't want to cause a scene. She offers a polite smile and says, "Please wait right here. Let me ask the captain." She walks over to the nearest phone and calls the cockpit. "Captain," she says, "a passenger wants his bag from the cargo. What should I do?" The captain's voice sounds calm and reassuring. "Tell him to wait until we land," he advises. Sarah returns to the man. "Sir," she says apologetically, "I'm very sorry, but you can get your bag after we land." The man looks even angrier. "But what if I need my medicine?" he asks loudly. Sarah's heart sinks slightly. Is he sick? She wonders. Taking another deep breath, she asks, "Do you feel sick right now?" He shakes his head. "No, not yet, but I might feel sick later," he replies. Sarah thinks quickly. "Do you know the name of the medicine?" she asks. The man looks surprised. "Yes, it's in my pocket," he says. He checks his jacket and pulls out a small pill. Sarah feels relieved. "You already have it with you," she points out gently. The man looks at the pill in his hand and then laughs nervously. "Oh, I forgot," he says. "Thank you for helping me." Sarah smiles. "It's no problem at all. Please take your seat now." The other passengers quietly clap, and Sarah feels a sense of accomplishment. Just as she starts to relax again, a woman calls out, "Excuse me." Sarah turns to see a woman holding up her phone. "The Wi-Fi is not working," she says. "I need to send an urgent email." Sarah looks at her and pauses for a moment, thinking. "The Wi-Fi will start working soon," she says reassuringly. "Please wait just a few more minutes." The woman frowns. "But it's really urgent," she emphasizes. Sarah's hands feel a little sweaty again. What can I do? She walks to the back of the plane and finds the senior flight attendant. "The Wi-Fi isn't working," Sarah reports. The senior attendant nods and smiles knowingly. "It always takes a few minutes to start," she says. "Tell her to try again soon." Sarah returns to the woman. "Please try connecting again in a few minutes," she suggests. The woman sighs but nods in understanding. "Okay, thank you," she says. Sarah stands in the aisle and looks around. Everything seems calm for now, but she knows the flight is far from over. What will happen next? She wonders. The plane is now in the air. Sarah walks through the aisle, checking on the passengers. Most of them are quiet, reading or watching something on their screens. Sarah feels a little more confident, but then she hears a voice. "Excuse me." A woman sitting near the window is trying to get her attention. Sarah walks over to her. "Yes, How can I help you? She asks. The woman points to her seatbelt. It's stuck, she explains. Sarah leans down and examines it. It is indeed twisted. She carefully fixes it for her. There, it's fine now, Sarah says with a smile. The woman thanks her. As Sarah turns to leave, she hears a loud clattering noise. A tray of food has fallen to the floor. She sees a child sitting with his father. The little boy looks guilty. I'm so sorry, the father says, explaining that his son knocked it over by accident. Sarah smiles reassuringly and picks up the tray. It's okay, she says. Let me bring you another meal. She goes to the back of the plane and retrieves a fresh tray of food. Returning to the father and son, she gives it to them. The little boy looks at her and says, I'm sorry. Sarah smiles and replies, It's okay, just be careful next time. The father thanks her gratefully, and Sarah feels a sense of satisfaction. Just as she is about to sit down for a moment, a man stands up, holding a book. Excuse me, he says, could I get another drink? Sarah nods. Of course, she replies. She walks to the drink cart and gets him some water. When she returns, he smiles and says, Thank you. Then, something unexpected happens. A woman in the middle of the plane stands up and says, My phone is missing. Everyone looks at her. She appears quite upset. I had it in my bag and now it's gone, she exclaims. Sarah walks over to her. Are you sure it's missing? She asks gently. The woman nods emphatically. I've checked everywhere, she says. Sarah glances around and notices the woman's bag under her seat. May I check your bag? Sarah asks. The woman hesitates for a moment, but then agrees. Sarah opens the bag and finds the phone inside a small side pocket. She shows it to the woman. Here it is, Sarah says. The woman looks quite embarrassed. Oh, I didn't see it there, she says, a wave of relief washing over her face. Thank you. Sarah feels a sense of relief as well. But then she hears a loud cough. A man near the back of the plane is coughing quite persistently. Sarah walks quickly towards him. Are you okay? She asks. He nods but continues to cough. Can I get you some water? Sarah offers. He nods again. Sarah brings him some water and asks, Do you need anything else? He shakes his head. No, I'm fine now, thank you, he says. Sarah is glad that he seems all right. As she walks back towards the front of the plane, the turbulence starts. The plane begins to shake a little. The captain's voice comes over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. We are experiencing some turbulence. Sarah quickly checks that everyone has their seatbelts on. She notices a man in the aisle standing up. Sir, please sit down, Sarah says calmly. He looks surprised but quickly takes his seat. The plane continues to shake, and Sarah holds onto a nearby seat for support. A child begins to cry. Sarah kneels beside him. It's okay, she reassures him. This will stop soon. The mother looks at Sarah and says, Thank you. Finally, the turbulence subsides. The captain announces, "We are now flying smoothly. Thank you for your patience." Sarah feels a wave of relief. She takes a deep breath and continues with her duties. But then another passenger calls her over. "Excuse me," she says. "I think I've lost my wallet." Sarah's heart sinks slightly. Another problem, she thinks. She asks the woman, "Where did you see it last?" The woman replies, "I had it in my pocket, but now it's gone." Sarah looks around her seat and under the cushions. Finally, she spots it on the floor. "Here it is," Sarah says, handing it back to the relieved passenger. The woman smiles widely. "Thank you so much." Just as Sarah thinks everything might finally be settling down, the baby from earlier starts crying again. The mother looks exhausted. Sarah brings her some water and offers, "Would you like me to hold the baby for a minute?" The mother looks surprised but gratefully says, "Yes, please." Sarah takes the baby and walks gently up and down the aisle. The baby looks at her and stops crying. Other passengers smile at Sarah, and one man says, "You're doing a great job." Sarah feels a mix of pride and exhaustion. As she returns the baby to her mother, she hears another voice. "Excuse me," someone says. "Can you help me with my bag?" Sarah turns around and sees an older woman pointing to the overhead compartment. "It's too heavy for me," she says. Sarah nods. "I can certainly help you," she replies. She reaches up and carefully takes down the bag. The woman thanks her, and Sarah smiles. It has been a busy flight so far, and there is still some time left. "I wonder what will happen next," Sarah thinks. The flight is calm now. Most of the passengers are quiet, some reading, others sleeping. Sarah takes a moment to breathe. Maybe the hardest part of my day is over, she thinks. But then she hears the sound of the intercom. "Attention, crew," the captain says. "We are experiencing turbulence again. Please take your seats." Sarah quickly checks the aisle. Some passengers still aren't wearing their seatbelts. She walks quickly to them. "Please fasten your seatbelt," Sarah says. A man near the back looks at her and asks, "Why? Is something wrong?" "No, sir," Sarah replies calmly. "This is just for your safety." He nods and fastens his belt. Sarah feels relieved, but then the plane shakes violently. Passengers gasp, and a cup of water spills onto the floor. Sarah's heart beats rapidly. She grabs the back of a nearby seat to steady herself. The turbulence gets even stronger, and the baby starts crying again. The mother looks at Sarah, her eyes wide with concern. "What is happening?" she asks. Sarah forces a smile to remain calm. "It's just turbulence. It will stop soon," she says reassuringly. Then something unexpected happens. A man near the front of the plane stands up abruptly. He looks panicked. "I can't breathe," he shouts. Passengers turn to look at him. Sarah rushes towards him. "Sir, please sit down," she says urgently. He shakes his head, looking distressed. "I feel dizzy," he says. Sarah helps him sit down in an empty seat. "Take deep breaths," she instructs him. She quickly grabs a small oxygen mask from the emergency kit and gives it to him. "Breathe into this," she says calmly. The turbulence continues, and the plane shakes again. Another passenger screams, "We're going to crash!" Sarah feels a lump in her throat, but she knows she must remain calm. "No, we are safe," she says loudly and clearly. "Please stay in your seats and keep your seatbelts on." The man with the oxygen mask starts to calm down. "I feel better," he says. Sarah nods and smiles reassuringly. "You're okay," she says, but then she hears another noise coming from the galley. Sarah walks to the back of the plane and sees that a food cart has rolled loose and is blocking the aisle. She pushes it back into place and locks the wheels. As she turns around, she hears the intercom again. The captain's voice is serious. "Attention crew, prepare for a possible emergency landing." Sarah's heart stops. Emergency landing? She looks at the senior flight attendant who nods at her. "Follow the procedure," she mouths. Sarah quickly grabs the safety manual and prepares to give instructions to the passengers. She walks to the front of the plane. Her voice shakes slightly, but she speaks clearly and calmly. "Ladies and gentlemen, we may need to make an emergency landing. Please follow these important steps." She demonstrates how to put on the oxygen masks. "Pull the mask down and place it over your nose and mouth," she instructs. "Fasten your seatbelts tight." A woman raises her hand, her face filled with concern. "Will we be okay?" she asks. Sarah offers her a reassuring smile. "Yes, the pilots are highly trained for this. You are safe," she says confidently. The passengers listen carefully. The plane shakes again, but this time no one screams. Everyone looks at Sarah and she feels the pressure, but she manages to stay calm. The captain's voice comes through the intercom again. "Crew, prepare for landing." Sarah takes a deep breath. The plane starts to descend. Her hands feel sweaty, but she remains focused on her tasks. Suddenly, the child who spilled the food earlier starts crying. His father looks helpless. Sarah kneels beside the child. "It's okay," she says gently. "We are landing soon, and everything will be fine." The plane shakes one more time. Sarah holds on to the armrest. Through the window, she sees the runway getting closer. The wheels touch the ground, and the plane bounces slightly before finally coming to a complete stop. The captain announces, "We have landed safely. Thank you for your cooperation." The passengers clap and cheer, and Sarah feels an immense wave of relief. She stands up and smiles at the passengers. "Thank you for staying so calm," she says. "Please remain seated until the plane stops completely." The man with the oxygen mask looks at Sarah and says, "Thank you for helping me." The mother with the baby also smiles gratefully and says, "You were amazing." Sarah feels a mix of pride and exhaustion. As the passengers begin to leave the plane, many of them thank Sarah. She stands at the door, offering a smile to each one. When the last passenger has deplaned, Sarah finally sits down, her legs feeling weak. The senior flight attendant approaches her and says, "You did very well today, Sarah." Sarah smiles gratefully. "Thank you," she replies. "It was the most intense moment of my life, but I managed to stay calm." She wonders if all flights are this eventful. As the plane empties and the cabin becomes quiet, Sarah sits for a moment, taking a deep breath. Her first flight is over, but she still feels the lingering excitement and nervousness from everything that happened. The senior flight attendant returns, smiles, and says, "Good job today, Sarah. You handled everything very well." Sarah smiles back. "Thank you," she says. "It was harder than I imagined." They begin cleaning up the plane, collecting empty cups and wrappers. Suddenly, Sarah notices something under a chair. It's a small stuffed animal, looking like it belongs to a child. Sarah picks it up, thinking about the little boy who spilled his food earlier. Could this be his? She wonders, feeling a pang of sadness for him. How will he feel when he realizes his toy is missing? Sarah takes the stuffed animal to the gate agent. "Can you please keep this in case someone comes back for it?" she asks. The gate agent nods. "Of course," she replies. As Sarah turns to leave, she hears a voice behind her. "Excuse me." She looks back and sees the father from earlier holding the little boy's hand. The boy looks sad. "Did you find a toy?" the father asks. Sarah holds up the stuffed animal. "Is this it?" she asks. The little boy's face lights up with joy. "Yes!" he shouts, grabbing the toy and hugging it tightly. "Thank you so much," the father says. "You've made his day." Sarah smiles. "I'm glad I could help." Sarah returns to the plane to finish her work. The captain comes out of the cockpit. "Sarah," he says, "you did very well today. You stayed calm and helped everyone. Thank you." Sarah smiles. "I was nervous, but I tried my best." As she leaves the plane, she reflects on all the events of the day, the turbulence, the missing bags, the scared passengers. It was certainly a lot to handle, but she also thinks about the happy faces, the man who found his documents, the boy who got his toy back, the mother who felt supported. Sarah realizes that being a flight attendant is not just about serving food or reciting safety instructions. It's about helping people, staying calm under pressure, and solving unexpected problems. She walks out of the airport and feels the cool evening air on her face. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Sarah smiles to herself. Her first day was full of surprises, but she made it through. What will my next flight bring? She wonders. I don't know, but I'm ready to find out.